Welcome back for another Reddit story video. Today we have 3 stories for you to enjoy. As always, don't forget to share and like if you enjoy these videos. Without further ado, here we go. A bad lady Karen tries to get me and my wife fired. This happened yesterday and we are still reeling from what occurred. I never thought I would see a live, vicious Karen like her, and never in such a way that it scared the ones I cared for the most. In a couple of weeks it will be our oldest child's 6th birthday, so we went out yesterday to shop for her birthday presents. Me and my wife, who we will call Amber, decided that this year she could choose out what she wanted for presents, but limited to either 3 small presents or 1 bigger one. So we took her and her 10-month-old brother and we went to a wall-to-wall mart nearby and then into the children's toy aisle. And being a kid, she wanted to inspect everything. She would want to look at this item, I would take down an item that wanted, she would inspect it, I would ask if she wanted that for her birthday, she would say yes, I would put it temporarily in the shopping cart, then we go down the aisle, she want to look for another item. Amber would take it off the shelf for her to look at, ask if she wanted that for her birthday, she would say no, and then I'll go onto the shelf. Customers went by, didn't think anything of it, not knowing that was one we should be looking out for. Finally, we ended with 10 items that she wanted in the cart, all small items, so she would get 3 of these and told her to decide what she really wanted from this pile. She looked them over, decided on 2 right away, but she really wanted 2 of the other ones so badly, please, that we succumbed to her pleading and agreed that we'd get her 4. Little ankle biter has us wrapped around her finger. We told her that she would get these presents later, and after surviving a round of pudding and big deer eyes, she gave in with the most heartbreaking, okay, only a kid can give. We went to put the items back. To distract her, Amber asked if she wanted to get a drink from the in-store fast food company, and she takes both her and our baby in his carrier towards the opposite corner of the store. Meanwhile, I was in charge of putting the discarded items back and was to secretly buy the 4 items, put them in the trunk of the car and then meet up with them after. We compared notes afterwards, so what happened here was from Amber's view. When she went around the corner, she heard an "excuse me" from behind and thought nothing of it and kept walking. Then seconds later, a bit louder "excuse me", closer and louder. She still thought nothing of it and turned a corner towards the restaurant. Then finally a tap on her shoulder. Turning, my wife found Karen instantly jump into her face as soon as she turned. Karen then told her, "I've been waiting minutes to be helped because you were busy with that one guy, but now where are you taking his children?" Amber responded, "These are my children," which got the immediate response from Karen in a larger voice. "Then why do you have children while you work? You have daycare for things like that." And while Amber was trying to figure out what Karen was saying, Karen then moved her hand as if to go for the carrier my wife was holding. Instinctively, Amber pulled her hand back so the Karen couldn't get a hold of it. That was enough to wake up our son, who started immediately crying. Amber then moved so she was between her daughter and this cranky woman. Then pulled out her phone and quickly texted me. She was able to send off the one text before an enraged Karen swats it out of her hand, telling her employees should not be on their phones while working. My wife tried to explain that she doesn't work here and never has worked here while trying to soothe her son. Karen then said, "But I saw you take down that item for his daughter and put it back multiple times. Surely you work here." When Amber tried explaining that it was going to be her daughter's birthday soon, Karen just switched her hand aside and sniffed and said, "That's something you should do while not working and without your kids here. You think you can do that whenever?" And then she must have looked at my daughter because she immediately grabbed Amber's leg as worried something was going to happen to her. Amber put a hand on my daughter's head, trying to comfort her somewhat, and tried to tell Karen sternly, "I just told you that I do not work here," only to have Karen scream, "Yes you do, I want to see your manager." Now, our daughter is scared. At this point, Amber was about to unleash the one thing I dread ever since she became a mother. This inner beast which is half a bear, half thunderstorm and all motherhood, that has a full weight of God's fury when it comes to protecting our children. A little pissed off at this old woman who was scaring her daughter, and she started raising her voice too. Back to me. I've started returning the toys when I get the text from Amber. Looking at my phone, all I get is "I need help." Leaving the cart, I ask where she is while walking on my way towards the central part of the store. No response. but I hear my son wailing loudly. Fearing the worst thing only a parent can think of, I run towards the crying with a loud voice yelling and Amber's voice starting to get loud too. Turning to the corner to see Amber trying to talk this Karen who was screaming about getting her fired, trying to calm down a very scared little girl hiding behind the mother's leg and soothing a jolted baby who had been napping all this time. I asked Amber what happened and the Karen turned to address me. "Finally a manager," she half yelled. "You have to fire this worker of yours. She's such a bad employee that she cannot leave her children at home." I gave her this look of not understanding before catching the word employee. The company employees wear a well-known blue shirt, managers wear yellow vest, and all wear name tags. Not sure what they wear for pants because I've never thought to look. Now, Amber was wearing a dark red long sleeve shirt and blue jeans. No vest that has logo, and no way this could be mistaken as an employee. I was wearing a green shirt with a certain football logo on it and blue jeans too. No name tags on either one of us either, so I have no idea how she got employee and manager out of what we were wearing. Chalk it up to Karen's glasses, I guess. Then I made a mistake. I said, "She doesn't work here, she's my wife." Oh boy. She latched it onto the "my wife" part as if she was a cross-examination prosecutor in court. "Your wife? You let her bring in your children to work? Are you so broke that you cannot afford a babysitter?" Could not get in a word edgewise as she just blows this tirade at us. Finally, security gets there in what seemed forever but likely only minutes. Karen sees them first and yells, "Security! I want both of them out of here and I want to talk to whoever owns this store now." The officers don't even look at us but at her and says, "Okay, let's take you to the office," and escort her away. She looked back and pointed at us and yelled, "What about them?" Where the other officers just said, "We will come back and deal with them after you come to see the owner." Once they leave, I take the carrier crib away from Amber and she turns to pick up a very scared little girl, who immediately latched onto her as if she had no plans to ever let go. It takes us quite a while to calm down our son and I end up finding a chair in the outdoor section. Amber says she's going to the bathroom with our daughter and takes off. I'm too busy worrying about my son to give a damn to whoever passes until I hear, "Sir, sorry to bother you." I look up to see someone who is wearing a manager vest and he says, "We apologize for another customer harassing you and your family like that. We now have her sitting in our office until police come and plan to charge her for harassment. Would you like to press charge too?" I simply replied, "I just want her gone." Manager just nodded then quickly left. Now hearing how she went and tried to go for our son, even if she did not mean to, I wish I had. Amber come back soon with our daughter in hand and looked less pissed than when she was before. I pass our son to her and my daughter climbs onto my leg and gives me a big hug. "Is the bad lady gone?" my daughter asked me. I smiled and I said, "Yeah, the bad lady Karen is gone." More hugs as my wife holds onto a now quiet and awake boy. We didn't bother to go back and grab the cart with the toys she wanted. Amber said that she will get them later this week. I saw the same manager as we left and passed something to us. It was a gift card as an apology for the trouble Karen caused and apologized again. And my daughter got treated to ice cream, so she was happy about that. Don't yell at me, I didn't close that store I never worked for or knew existed. Background: I manage a small local jewelry store in a small flea market style mall, filled with local artisans and businesses. I'm friendly with the people who own and work in these stores on either side of mine, but I don't work for them. And I don't really even have the chance to leave my store when I'm on shift. Since my store is so tiny, there's only ever one employee there at a time, so when I'm working, I have no time to wander around the mall. I actually don't know anything about the stores or vendors at the other end from where my store is located and have never even been in most of them. Today, I'm at work reading a book behind the counter since no one is in the store as usual, when an older man comes right up to the counter and immediately starts bitching. Old man, OM. Where the hell is the wine store? My wife and I have been up and down this mall and it's not there. Me, I'm sorry? There was a wine shop at the other end last time I was here. Did you close it? Oh, I honestly don't know about that. I just work in this store. I'm not familiar with a wine vendor in this mall, sorry. Well, we came all the way here from town 45 minutes away just for that wine shop, and it appears to have disappeared into thin goddamn air. Now, can you explain that? Me, very confused at this point. Sorry, I really don't know what wine shop you are referring. You might have better luck asking one of the store clerks close to that end of the mall. I don't work there, so... OM, very agitated with me now. How do you work here and not know what's going on in your effing place of business? Is there anyone here who knows anything? Is your manager here? Me getting kinda mad, to be honest. I am the manager of this particular store. But as I said, I only work here, so it's not my job to really keep tabs on the other businesses that rent space in the mall. They're not my place of business. This is. Sorry. OM in that condescending baby boomer customer service voice. Well, it's very disappointing to drive such a long way for something only to find that this place has clearly dropped the ball on the products they carry and their customer service. Don't think we will be sticking around. He finally left after that, and when I called and told the owner of my store, she just laughed and said to yell back next time. But what an effing prick. Imagine being so mad about wine. I work in a touristy town, so there are tons of nice wine shops 5 minutes down the street, dickhead. Don't yell at a 22-year-old manager who makes $13 an hour over your choice to waste gas before bothering to Google what businesses are still open. Jesus, this literally happened 10 minutes ago and I'm still mad. I don't work here anymore. I used to be a waiter at a small but popular sushi restaurant. During those dark times, I was subject to several customers who did their utmost to push the margin of the customer's king. One such customer, who shall henceforth be known as Dan, was a real fella. He would come in and do his best to be a bitch. Some notable examples are showing up 10 minutes before close to demand full meal service, tipping exactly $0 on a $126 tab, and telling his wife how the big dumb waiter should have gone to school. I had gone to school and got a useless effing degree. My mistake, but the judgment was rude and hurtful nonetheless. Dan and those like him love to pick on servers. I personally think that the dead look in his wife's eyes and the howler monkeys he claims are children may also be a cause result of his shitty personality. So I endured people like Dan because I had a baby on the way and my wife had struggled immensely to support us during a time where I couldn't find work. Well, to cut it short, I finally escaped customer service hell and get myself a fancy new job with salary, benefits and a huge path for upwards mobility. I move away and my life is wonderful. I decide to visit family back home and end up sitting at my old restaurant. My co-workers loved me, so it was always fun to go back in and just have a good time. Of course, tipping 20% or more. Cue that night as I sit with my wife and daughter, Dan comes in. His misbehaved wombats are of course screaming and running around as his wife does her best Bran Stark impersonation. He sits at a table directly across the dining area and I literally don't care. He's out of my life and I don't even want to waste the effort to think ill of him. After the meal, I walk over to the sushi bar, which is next to his table. I compliment my friends on how great the food was and ask them how life is, etc. I notice Dan eyeballing me. I can see that he is literally staring at me. He had a large empty bottle of his usual Japanese beer, Kirin. I bid my friends a good evening and begin to walk back, taking the route around his table this time since he wants to play I Spy with my back. I cross his bubble and he reaches out and grabs my arm. I'm not a big guy, but I'm bigger than Dan. I look at his stupid smug, round little face and ask him as calmly as possible what the hell he's doing. My beer is empty, I told female waitress, and she said she would be right back. It has been half an hour, get me that beer. He's still holding my wrist this whole time. Now, my hometown is rural. Lots of country boys, and this fella Dan, he was very rural. I usually love their down-home attitude, but when they are dicks, it's all the way. I calmly but firmly grab Dan's wrist with my free arm and remove it from my own. No, I don't work here anymore, Dan. Get your own effing beer and do not touch me again. Dan was nearly speechless. I say nearly because I was already walking away when he said I was rude and an idiot and that he was best friends with the owner. I don't know if he was or not, but frankly it wouldn't have mattered. I just laughed, making a show of it at this point, and told him he should get to that beer before he makes a fool of himself. I got my family, said goodbye to a couple more people, and made sure to smile at Dan just one more time before I left. His kids hardly seem to notice anything over their mission to fling rice at the floor and then look smaller, almost frail. It may have been adrenaline, but I could have sworn his wife looked just a little less vacant. I still visit from time to time, but I only ever run into customers I remember fondly, or no one of significance at all. I will always hold that little memory fondly though. F you Dan, discipline your kids, treat your wife right, and stop being a shit pickle. So those were the stories for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be highly appreciated. It really does help my channel out. Also, if you enjoy this and want to stay up to date on the latest videos, then don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next video.